this. And then we already did partial sums. Let's do this next one. Okay, the next one is called column adding. I think we kind of already know how to do this, sort of, kind of, but not perfectly the way they want it. Okay, so if you look at the workspace over here for these problems, we're not just adding one row, we're adding 3 rows. So we have to, or we're dealing with 3 different sets of rows. So we're gonna have to do a little bit of work here. Okay, so let's read the directions. It says column addition for adding. It says first fill in the first rows of sums. So that means of adding. So let's fill them in. For this first sucker, 366 plus 165, 366 plus 165. Okay, we're gonna add up this first column. So 6 plus 5 is 11. 6 plus 6, 12. 3 plus 1, 4. Yay! Okay, good. Now it says if the ones is bigger than a 10, so let's look at our ones right here. It's 11. Oh no, that's definitely bigger than a 10. It says take a 10 away from that column. So 11 minus 10 is 1. So we took 10 away from that column. So now I have a 1 instead. Then it says, then use that 10 to bump up the tens column by 1. So because we took 10 away from this ones, we're going to add a tens over here. And when we do that, 12 plus 1 is 13. Okay? And then we'll just rewrite that 4. Okay, so all we did was, our first step was this red. We just added up and down. 6 plus 5, 11. 6 plus 6, 12. 3 plus 1, 4. Then we looked at our ones and we said, hey, that's 11. That's too big. I need it to be 9 and under, or 10 and under, or 9 and under. Anyway, so I subtracted off a 10 and I got this 1 right here. And when I subtracted off a 10 from the ones, I had to add 1 to my tens, because if I subtract one set of 10 away from the ones, I have to add on one set of the tens to the tens. Okay, so now we're going to check. It says if the tens is bigger than 10. Well, let's look at my tens. Here she is, 13. Yep, she is. We need to subtract 10 from that column. So 13 minus 10 is 3. So I got a 3 down here. But since I subtracted 10 from this 13, I have to bump up the hundreds by 1. So I have 5, 3, and then a 1 from this 11 that turned into a 1. So my final answer is 531. Woo. Okay, let's do another one. This one underneath it is just the answer key. Okay, let's make something up. Let's say we have 349 and 265, and we're adding these. Okay, so my first step is to add the columns up and down. 14, 10, 5. Okay, my second step is my second step is to look at my ones, the stuff that's in my ones digit, and that's a 14. And I can't have that in a ones digit because it's too big. It's over 10. So I need to subtract off a 10 from here. And we get 4. Okay, and since we subtracted a 10 here, then we have to bump up the tens column by a 1. So it's kind of like we're doing that carrying a 1 thing, you know? Yeah, so we have to add 1 here, which makes 4 plus 6 is 10, plus 1 is 11. And then bring down the 5. So we just fixed the 1s. Yay! Because now I have a number less than 10 in my 1s. It's a 4. Now it's time to fix the 10s. Let's see here. If we look at this 10 or this 11, it's too big. The number in this spot is only supposed to be 9 or less. So I need to subtract 10 from here, and it'll become a 1. But remember, I need to carry that 1 up on my hundreds. So it's like I have to add 1. So 3 plus 2 plus 1 is a 6. So our first step, we fixed the 1's digit because there were too many numbers. We can only have a single digit there. So we fixed that 14 to a 4. The second thing we did was we fixed that 10s because it can only have 1 digit. We fixed that, or it can only be 10 or less. So we fixed that 10 because it was too big. It was an 11. So we subtracted 10 and added 1 to the next. So our final answer should be 614. And y'all can try and add that on your own in your calculator to check. Okay, the next one we're going to do is breaking up and bridging. I think a lot of older people do this accidentally. They don't know they're doing it. They just do it. It's how we learned how to do math. We just made it work. Okay, so let's see here. Let's say we have 192 plus 93. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to add the tens of the second number to the first number. Now, I say tens of the second number. So if my second number is 93, the tens is, let's see here. Is it the 3? No, because that's in the 1 spot. It's the 90. So my first step is to take the second number, 93, and just take the tens of it, 90. And add it to the first number. So this 192 that we started with, 192, plus the 90 from that second number, and that gives us 282. Did I skip a page? Okay. Then it says, add this sum to the units in the second number. Identify the units. Okay, so in this 93, tens is the 90. Units is the 1s, or the 3. So it says now, add this sum, 282, back to the units, 3, of the second number. And it says identify the units. The units is the 1s, or here it's the number 3. So we're going to take 282 and add 3, and that makes 285. Yay! That's for kids who maybe aren't that great with carrying a 1. They'd rather just add up a bunch of multiples of 10s. Okay, let's do another one. It says add the hundreds of the second number to the first number. So let's take this 315 and then take this 438, which is the second number, and we're just going to take the hundreds of it. The hundreds of 438 is 400. So let's add 400. That should be super easy. 715. Then it says add the tens of that second number. Let's see here. The tens of that second number is 30. So we're going to take that 715 we just got and we're going to add that tens, 30, and we get 745. Finally, it says add the units. Remember, the units are the very last number in the one spot, as in 8. So we're going to take that 745 and we're going to add 8, and it gives me 753. So you slowly break it down. You just deal with the hundreds, then the tens, then the units of the second number. The first number, you just use him once at the very beginning, and then you add the hundreds of the second number, then the tens, then the units. Okay, let's talk about trading off to add. Okay, this is kind of like what we just did, sort of. It says, change one of your numbers to a multiple of 10 so that arithmetic is easier. So, which one of these is closer to a 10? The 72? Okay, yeah. It's closer to something with a 0 in it, as in it's closer to 70 than 55 is to 50. So 72 is closer to 70 than 55 could be to 50 or 60. Okay, so I'm going to take 70 and add it to 55, and that gives me 125. And then it says when you trade off, you must compensate by changing your second number. So my first number went to a 70, and that's 2 less than 72. So now my second number is going to change to 2 more than 55. So this second number is actually going to become 57. So the first number, you change it to a 10. The second number, you do the opposite of whatever your change was. So now 125 is no longer right. Now it's 70 plus 57 is 127. Okay, let's do it again. Let's look at this 37 plus 52. Let's see, which one of these is easier, closer to change to a 10? Sure, maybe the 52 or the 37. It doesn't really matter. I'll just change this 37 to a 40. And to get to that 40, I had to add 3. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this 52 by doing the opposite of that, adding 3, minus 3. So 52 minus 3 is 49. Then 40 plus 49 is 89. So it's just a way to kind of avoid a lot of carrying the 1. Okay, let's look at this next sucker.